Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Oak City Tech can help you get found in the digital world. It is noisy and it is crowded out there, and you need experts like the folks at Oak City Tech to help you get found so you can connect with the new clients and they can know who you are and you can find ways to help them grow their business. So please go to oakcitytech.com. Tell them what you're looking for. I know they'll be able to help you. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning. Each week on Triangle BNI, we bring you a successful small business story. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. Each week, about 30 chapters and almost 600 members get together. And our number one goal is to help each other grow our businesses. And our small business success story this week is Carrie Hobrough with CBIZ. Carrie, how you doing?
I am fantastic. How are you?
Good. Glad to have you here today. Carrie is a member of RD34, Pay It Forward. They meet Friday mornings at 8 a.m. Right now it's Zoom. But when we go back to meeting in person, and we still have no idea when that is, and I'm tired of guessing and trying to figure out when, they meet at the Outback Steakhouse on Walnut Street in Cary. Carrie, how is, you're relatively new to BNI. How is Zoom going since I don't believe you know in-person meetings, correct?
Well, twofold on that. I joined BNI a year ago, but I joined it in Hudson, Wisconsin. So when I moved here, it was the first thing on my list to find a new home. In Hudson, we actually were able to meet in person because we went through some kind of rules and regulations to get that going. But here, realized that that wasn't the case. And it's actually going well. It's our new normal. So you can't fight them, join them. Is that what they say?
Yes. I was wrong initially when they sent everybody home last March. And I stupidly thought this is a few weeks and sadly wrong. So I've quit guessing. I have no
Yeah.
idea where we are on this. I'm hoping we're on the tail end of it, but
Mm.
I realistically don't see anything till Labor Day or probably around there before we can do that because you and I, my group meets at Hibernian Pub on Falls. Your group meets at Outback. We have to get clearance from the government,
Right.
clearance from the state, and then clearance from the restaurants we meet at before we can meet again. And so a lot of things are going to happen, but Zoom, I don't know about for you, but for me, it's out. It has exceeded my expectations.
Mhm.
How's it been for you?
Oh, I completely agree. And one of the things that I love about Zoom is these breakout sessions that you can go in and you get to know each other, which you don't in the in-person meetings. You have the networking before, but you are really good at, I was just telling you before we started, some of your crazy questions that you ask. And I just enjoy it because you get to know, it's like there's the business question, then there's the personal question. We're not all business. We have to get to know each other on a personal level as well. So it's been actually really nice.
Yep, I enjoy that too. I host a speed networking event about 3 times a month. And
Mhm.
basically, I need to be entertained. So I want to hear those questions of what was the one you were telling me about before the show?
What is the the redneckiest thing you've ever done?
Yeah. Because we've all done something goofy like that. But I've asked people, give me a good story about your parents, your first high school job, what's on your bucket list. Again, because we all connect personally.
Mhm.
And you are a trusted advisor. You've worked with a couple of different companies in the payroll world. So
Right.
people are going to follow you.
Yeah, and that actually, so I've been with CBIZ for 6 years, and just all the stars aligned that I was able to transition. I didn't want to leave CBIZ coming to Raleigh, and all the stars aligned, but it was just my circle of people around me, my people that I'm a trusted advisor. I need people that I trust that I can, refer people to on a personal level and professional level.
There are many people from the North and the Northeast in our lovely triangle area.
Hmm.
numerous reasons that got them here. I've met people that said, we just wanted to move from the north or from the west, and we went looking at a map and we saw Raleigh or, the Triangle. Or some people literally Googled best places to live, and the Triangle keeps coming up, which is no surprise to us. What got you and Patrick down here?
So Patrick started a job with Wells Fargo Cybersecurity, which is headquartered out of Raleigh. We had been saying for a few years that we wanted to move south, not too south, but have the nice season change as well, but not as drastic as Minneapolis, St. Paul area. And he was able to work from Minneapolis. And then he's like, okay, we're in Raleigh. They would prefer him to be here, maybe long-term versus a contract. So he said, what do you think of Raleigh? And I said, I was just in North Carolina in January for work and I loved it. So that was number one. Number two is we were saying we visited over Labor Day weekend, and then we just kind of put it on hold, and it snowed probably 6 inches in October. And he looked at me and he's like, I think it's time. And all the stars aligned, and we were literally here 3 weeks later.
Now, your industry is about as sexy as mine is.
I know.
Payroll and coaching will put people to sleep like that when we're talking to people. But with payroll, there are we all think that, and I guess back in the day when it started, it was literally just getting paychecks to people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so much more now with the planning. I know your company says you're the leading provider of professional advisory services. All right, break that down for us.
That's pretty impressive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So CBIZ as a whole, we have 2 divisions. We're headquartered out of Cleveland, Ohio. So we have a financial service division and an employee service division. We can literally help businesses with all aspects. So what I focus on is the employee technology. So hire to retire, no matter what the size, shape, form of a business is, we have a solution that can help them. So obviously the technology portion, payroll is a huge part of it. And then depending upon, their needs. And I've learned not to make any assumptions on what, the perfect fit would be, just from a 15-minute conversation to begin with. It's sitting down and listening to them, where some businesses have needs and have so many people right now are wearing so many different hats that they just need help. And if I can help them, great. If CBIZ can help them, great. That's where I love my BNI family, is I can bring other referral partners in or resources in. So yeah, it's time and attendance. I don't need to go off about all the different products, but it is just to streamline processes so you don't have all these different silos, and things can communicate in the background really effectively, or it can be a single source just depending upon what the specific needs are.
For some reason or another in the last month, I found myself in more conversations than I had in the past on employee benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear, health insurance, life insurance, retirement, the standard stuff. But what came up in a couple of those conversations, I'm sure you see this with small business owners, is that is a recruiting tool.
It is.
When you've got a potential hire that's got to narrow down to you and someone else, and you can step to the table and say, hey, we're going to pay a life insurance policy, I guess a whole policy, for you as an incentive for you to come here. It's, $20 a month. We're going to cover it for the first year and then split it with you each year after that, or something like that. But when you start throwing benefits and coverage for employees and families, I guess I didn't really think about that as a recruiting tool.
Oh, it is. And it's harder for smaller businesses, like you said, because they don't have the money, they don't have the resources. The number one expense to a business is its employees. payroll, and all of the benefits that come along with it, and the insurance, the tax, etc. So being able to go out there and offer an employee some kind of policy, like you said, you have the life, health, dental, vision. Then there's also supplemental. And this isn't my wheelhouse, uh, but I speak to it so much because it's a natural conversation, because I've had to use insurance, and I've had to use, unfortunately, an accident policy that I didn't even realize I had. So you don't realize um, sometimes that you can lose out on a great employee because you don't have those offerings. So if you have an advisor that you can talk to, that can introduce you to right solutions, that can go to market and actually look at, United Health, Blue Cross Blue Shield, that can go and not necessarily just resource one company and be a partner to one company, but be a partner to the employer and find the best solution for the employer. And I'm learning so much more on these captives that are out there. It's very impressive. There's creative ways to do it, and the employer can contribute as much as they want to, or just be the person in the company that can offer something. So at least there is a solution. At least there is some benefit. And it's not just, okay, this is your payroll. And one step further on that is when an employee leaves, sometimes they're just looking at the pay. And this happens a lot, that they don't realize that it's like, okay, well, I can go over here and I can make, $2,000 more a year, whatever it might be. But the insurance, it maybe isn't offered at the other place. So if you look at something called like a total compensation package, which is something that they can create on their own, or our technology can do that for them, they see the value of it. Because there's so much more than an employee's hourly pay salary that goes into the expense that the businesses have.
And if you are the employee and you are looking at a company that you really want to work for, and if they've offered you the job, but it's not quite where you want it to be,
Mhm.
please ask for additional coverages or anything that can be added to that total compensation, because they may not be able to give you any more. They may not have $3,000 more a year to pay you, but they may have $30 a month to give you more coverage for your family, something you might need at that point in time. So I encourage people to ask all the time. The
Mhm.
worst they're going to do is say no.
Yeah, and there's different savings plans. So there's a FSA, there's an HSA, there's a HRA, where employers can contribute money to, on a, legally you can't just throw money at them nowadays and say go buy health insurance with it. I think it has to be a little more designated. But that pre-tax dollars as well, it depends upon the plan that they have, but having that pre-tax savings is, you don't think it's going to be that big of a thing, but every penny helps at the end of the day. And these businesses have so much, and these small business owners, large businesses, there's so many ongoing changes to rules and regulations that they have to keep track of as well. It's
Yeah.
your head can spin just thinking of it.
And you may be in different part of your life. You could be right out of college, or single or just married. We need this. For people like you and I that are barely over 35, we
Barely.
need just maybe a little different thing. Or if you have a brand new baby, and I would recommend that people request that, or actually ask for it, because you never know, and it might end up being a minimal charge to the company, but a huge benefit to the employee. So I wish more people would look at that.
Yeah, I agree.
We are here with Carrie Hobrough of CBIZ. Carrie is a member of RD34. They meet Friday mornings at 8 a.m. on Zoom right now, but when they meet in person, it's at the Outback Steakhouse on Walnut Street in Cary. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Folks, the first thing you need is a website. If people cannot find you, it really doesn't matter what your product or service is, because they won't know about it. So make sure you have a functional website. You don't need $75,000 with 81 bells and whistles. You may never use them, but you need a good place for people to go find you to start that conversation. So go to oakcitytech.com and tell them we said hi. All right, Carrie, remote working. Some people are
Mm.
for it, some people are against it. But from a standpoint with CBIZ, how has that affected anything that you guys have done? And moving forward, how has that changed maybe some things you'll do whenever we get out of this?
Well, first of all, for an employee standpoint, so for myself, I had in Minneapolis, had a downtown office, but I had the luxury of being able to work from home a lot just because of the distance I was from there. But there, I realized there is a mentality difference between getting to work from home and having to work from home. So it's like, hmm, I don't know if I like that or not, but you get used to it. And, that first month, probably 2 weeks, definitely, everything went quiet. And, then things are coming back to, people are trying to figure things out and realize how their new normal is going to work. And yeah, remote employees is definitely something um, that we've had to tackle on many different things. There's definite more risk involved sometimes, but then there's also where I've had more conversations about the technology portion with the employees. That it's like how can they effectively communicate with their employees, and so open enrollment is done online. Time and attendance is a big one where they're able to track time online, request time off, even working from home. Obviously, people need to just step away and, make sure they get time on their calendar to get off. But um, it's, it causes a lot of, it just a lot of sad conversations and how how to just get through normal business functions. So the interview process, for instance, there's a company in the Twin Cities that I spoke with, and they're like, we have to we're now doing video interviews. And at first they were like, how do we do this? And now they love it because they've been so much more efficient with their time. And they realize that they don't need to spend a whole day, for instance, on with the onboarding process. That it can, employees and people like to have, take responsibility. So it's like, okay, put onus on them if and when you can, and treat people, I don't want to say like adults because that doesn't come across very nice, but give them responsibility, show that you trust them. And I've had many conversations that's like, how much time and resources and money went into researching, okay, can our employees work from home and be effective? And COVID hits, and literally in the snap of a finger, it's working. And I think there's, some stats, I don't know what they are, with people actually working more than they maybe were at the office
Yeah.
because they're logging in earlier, they're working later at night, etc. So, I
Yeah.
mean, COVID's been horrible, but I just had conversations over the weekend with some friends that there's some good things that have happened
Mm.
this last year. And let's try not to focus on all the bad because we focus on bad, more bad is going to come our way. So let's think about what's positive, bring the positive energy in, and keep moving forward, keep progressing, and learn from what has happened.
Yeah, and I like it from an employee standpoint because if what you have to do by the end of the day, or even be ready for your boss the next morning, if you just have
Mhm.
to get it done so it's ready at 9 a.m. the next morning, I think it offers a lot of flexibility because I'm a morning person. I get more done before 8 o'clock than I do after 2 o'clock. There are others that are night owls, so let them work late at night and sleep in. You got
Yeah.
kids. I mean, you and Patrick, same situation Becky and I are in. No kids at home, so we have a little bit more flexibility. But I think good managers are realizing, Carrie, as long as I see it in my inbox tomorrow morning, Hey,
Mhm.
you get it done whenever you want. And it shouldn't, I think there are going to be a lot of walls broken down. I think the 40-hour work week's going to be broken down. I
Right.
think the working, uh, they're going to allow the employees, if you want to say, hey, you know what, this Friday I want to work from home, before bosses would go, ooh, I don't know about that. But now it's like, okay, you've proven that you can do that. So not a problem.
Well, and even, then you go to the school system
Mhm.
that, it's a different animal with, the weather here versus the weather in the Twin Cities. And there were 255 schools closed, a few weeks ago because of a snowstorm that was coming in. And I don't know enough because as you said, we don't have children at home, but being able to keep the kids out of potential harm's way, and have them still be effective uh, and productive at home. So, and maybe they just had a day off. I don't know, but it seems like it would be a lot easier just to transition to a home school day. But that leads to a whole nother
Yes. Oh,
issue with working parents. So,
yeah. And as I call that, that's a whole nother podcast, and we can
yeah,
do
no,
that
yeah,
later. So, yeah.
you're like,
So
don't go there, don't
yeah,
go there.
yeah. Oh, but I so want to, but not today. So I love those topics at parties that no one else wants to talk about. Those are my favorites,
Oh,
but we'll try that another time. Um, when I do my research, my professional stalking online of
mhm.
upcoming guests, I find neat little tidbits. And here we go with the first one.
Oh man.
White Bear Lake Area High School.
Yes.
All right.
Wow.
I saw three extracurriculars that you participated in. Soccer explains itself. Dance line explains itself. Competitive dancing. I got to know about this.
How did you find soccer?
I, I'm pretty good at what I do. I'm learning Google. You got to get to the third page of a search. That's when you find the good stuff.
Oh
By the
my
way, there's a
gosh.
singer with your name who's a pretty good singer too. So, but again,
Really?
yeah, it's another story. So, but
That must be in Europe or something.
yeah, competitive
Um,
dance, huh?
Competitive dance. Yes. So I grew up, this is so funny. We were just talking about it this weekend as well. So my uh yeah, I grew up in a White Bear Lake, a very well-known dance company across the country, Larkin Dance Studio. I started taking dance lessons in Shirley Larkin's basement. So I don't know if anyone's familiar with the Larkin Dance Studio, but uh, we're really good. We traveled around the country, went to New York, competed, Chicago competed. It's much larger, on a larger scale now. And if I were, this is the question. So we get into good conversations here too. Is we went around the table and it's like, okay, if we weren't doing what we were doing right now, what would you want to do? And it would be a dance teacher.
Okay.
So yeah, it's definitely stuck with me, the good, the bad. But I like to shake a move every day if I
Are your
possibly can.
are your public dance skills still pretty good?
Uh, they are phenomenal. I like doing karaoke, but my philosophy of karaoke is if I can dance good enough, nobody cares how bad I sound.
Good dancing and alcohol. They thought, man, she was good.
I know.
Now, what kind of dance was this?
Tap, ballet, and jazz.
Oh my.
Yeah. So I was, point, and uh, I I loved my dancing.
Now,
We've actually done a little bit of ballroom dancing. If I could be on Dancing with the non-stars,
yeah,
sign me up.
which
Dancing
is
with the payroll people. How
there
about
you
that?
go. Which is tougher to learn, tap or ballet?
Tap. You have to move your feet really
Mm,
fast.
yeah. And the last time you had tap shoes on was when?
32 years ago.
You were 12. I like it.
Right.
Did this dancing help you in your soccer career?
Oh yeah, definitely. Uh, I'm very coordinated, a little klutzy, but it's definitely not only in my soccer career. I mean, it builds up the stamina, the coordination, uh, but just throughout my life with exercising. I have good form, good posture. I can catch on to things pretty quickly. And yeah, we were just actually using some kettlebells, and I was trying to demonstrate how a proper kettlebell squat and swing works yesterday. And I just had to stop the battle because I knew I won and he didn't think I did.
Now, Carrie and I share a member of the greatest club ever. That's the Grandparenting Club. For my grandson, Oliver, I'm hoping to pass down all my useless movie one-liners and trivia that will mean nothing in a career, but will make him even more fun at parties. Much like what I passed down to my kids. Did you pass any of these music or dancing or soccer skills down?
To my grandbaby,
Yep.
funny you should ask. I just recently had my first FaceTime dance party
Nice.
with Grayson. So he just turned 1, and yesterday I'm watching a video, he was jamming out to some church music with his parents. But the week before, I was like, playing, hey, Alexa, I shouldn't say Alexa because she'll turn on. Play some music. And so the two of us, he was just bopping his head and I'm dancing around the living room, and it was like made my heart melt.
When Oliver learned what the our box, I'm pointing this way because it's over there,
Oh.
does, and just the ease of you say, hey, his came out, hey, doodle.
Oh.
Okay, we're good. Yeah, but he would talk to it and it would, sometimes it would come on, sometimes it wouldn't, but with a 2-year-old in the language, but that is pretty funny.
That's
I
funny.
also did not realize, well, you were a graduate of Brown College, that you and I share something in common. Your focus was on broadcasting, advertising, and communications. And my degree was in broadcasting at Tennessee. So I did not know we shared that in common.
Yes, that is actually true. It's actually Brown Institute. It was a tech school.
Oh,
But yeah, I had my first child when I was young. I was the month I was turning 19. And I'm like, what do I want to do? I need to do something. I need to be responsible. I need to step up and take care of my kid. And I'm like, I could be, I could be on air. I have a great personality. Let's see how that goes. But it actually turned into a very successful career in advertising sales. So I thought I was applying to a radio station that I had never heard of, KATZ, which was Katz Communications. And it was an ad for a rep firm, and then worked my way up and was a branch manager at a rep firm, and then local sales manager at a television station in the Twin Cities.
did you ever get on camera?
Just as I'm like sneaking by in the background.
Oh, those were the days, those great
Yeah.
plans, and it's funny with life because I thought for sure I was going to do college football play by play on radio for my entire life.
Ah.
And it's funny how life happens.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, I'm assuming with you, I wouldn't have traded anything, but you still
No.
look back and like, because somebody would say, hey, check out this job. And then you look at that one. And then 3 years later, like, oh, talk with that. And all of a sudden you wanted to go here. And then all of a sudden your arc really goes that way.
Right. Yeah. It's the same, that it's like, you know, regrets. Why, yeah, we all have regrets, but if anything would have changed, I wouldn't have had Justin,
Yep.
and now I wouldn't have had Grayson. So, my gosh,
Yeah.
why would I have wanted it any other way?
I'm the same thing when they say, would you want this life? When they ask you questions, would you rather be, oh, one of the great questions I ever heard one day, and a lot of people don't get this, but you will. And I think Amnon will too. Listen to Howard Stern one day. years ago, and they said, which life would you rather have, Willie Nelson or John Stamos?
Oh.
Which I thought was total opposite ends. But it's like, I don't want their life, because then I'm with you. Then I don't have Becky and Travis and Cameron and Oliver and Sarah. And I'm like, no, I just want their money.
Right.
I just want what they pay in taxes. I don't need their income.
Yeah. So we have these little cards in our house. And so Patrick's a thinker, and I've become more of a thinker than I ever have in my whole life. And we had these friends in town. And so we're like, okay, perfect opportunity. They have deep questions on it. And one of the questions was, if you could go back and change one day in history,
Mhm.
what day would it be? And that, you're just like, first of all, it's like, there's so many days that you
Yeah.
would want to change. How do you choose one? And then it just evolved into this great conversation. It's like, we can't. So let's learn from it.
Yeah.
Let's grow from it. Let's become better people and not repeat mistakes from the past.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. We're here with Carrie Hobrough of CBIZ. They are a payroll and legal and financial and leading provider of professional advisory services to businesses. Carrie is a member of RD34, Pay It Forward. They meet Friday mornings at 8 a.m. If you want to meet some good folks in the Cary area, we can get you the link to their meeting. You'll meet some fine people, and I know you'll help your business, probably help theirs as well. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Let's talk email campaigns. Believe it or not, folks, people still open their emails. A great percentage of people still use that. A lot of people are on social media these days. They think that's the best way I can get to people. But if Google and Facebook shut you down and Amazon shut you down one day, guess what you're left with? Your email addresses, and it will keep you in touch with current and future clients. So go to oakcitytech.com, tell them what you're looking for. I know they'll be able to help you. All right, Carrie, one of my favorite questions. I kind of know the answer to this because you and I had a one-to-one a while back. I always ask people on the show, how did you meet your spouse? And do you both tell the story the same way?
We do.
Good.
So we met the good old fashioned way online, on a free dating app called Plenty of Fish. And we will be having our 6-year anniversary coming up on March 5th. So, oh yeah. And the first date is a doozy, and he's even surprised that I went out with him again.
Well, we need to hear that story then.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Sorry, Patrick.
Yeah. He can defend himself on another podcast.
Right, exactly. So I don't need to be wined and dined. It's like, let's just go chat low key. So we decided to meet at a bowling alley, which was great. We'll go bowling and have a couple beers. Well, it was league night. So there were all the lanes were full. There's kids running around everywhere, but there was a bar at Sunray Bowl in St. Paul. And so we're sitting there and we're chatting, and all of a sudden, he pulls this camera out of his pocket, and it's not even just like a little camera. It's a camera with a big old lens on it. And he starts taking pictures. I'm like, who is this creepy dude? And so I'm laughing. And then, so then we're like, okay, let's go into the arcade. So we're playing air hockey together. So creepy factor number one, he brought a camera, coincidentally, in his pocket. And then we went into the arcade and we're playing air hockey, and these little kids, from the parents and not paying attention to them, are wanting to play with us. So I have this maybe 2-year-old kind of on my lap like this, and we're playing together. And Patrick's on the other side, and he's trying to kick this little kid's butt in air hockey. And I'm like, he's 2, and he goes, he's going down. And yeah, and that, and laughed and I had so much fun and I was in so much disbelief of this guy. Yeah, I mean, I was just in disbelief. And then that was a Thursday. We went out again on Saturday and we've almost been inseparable,
And here
you
we
know,
are. Yeah.
a few times a week ever since then.
And obviously, more and more people are meeting online. And I always like to ask folks, and the same question for you is, at what point in time in these conversations did you think, okay, it's time to meet?
Um, he's the one that said it. So I lived in Hudson, Wisconsin. He lived by the Mall of America. It's like 30 minutes from each other. I'm on the road for work all the time. That really isn't a long, it really didn't matter. 30 minutes, it's not a big deal. Um, so he called, and I don't even know if he knows the story. So I told him that I wasn't available, but I was so nervous. And I was told by someone, don't talk to someone before your first date because you can completely change your opinion on them based solely on their voice. If you don't like their voice. And so, I mean, it was a couple weeks, I bet, that we were chatting and then we finally met. But the funny story is, so Patrick has a stutter. He has like a severe stutter. Um, it's not. I mean, it's a stutter. So, and I'm like, had I picked up the phone, and I would like to think that I wouldn't judge someone based on that. Um, but it's like, would I
Mhm.
have, based off of what that woman said, would I have gone out on the date?
It's a fair question. We all would have had that thought.
Yeah.
Now, where do you go with it? But yeah, everybody would have a thought on that. Uh, does the first picture you put up online still exist
The first picture I
on
put
your
online,
profile?
uh,
And what was the picture of?
it could have been me and my daughter.
Okay.
Do you know?
No, sadly, no.
Oh,
I wish I did. Now that we're into this story, I
I'm
wish I could
like,
have found it. Yeah.
I don't know if I should trust some of these questions. You might
I
already
wouldn't.
know the
I wouldn't.
answers.
But do you remember having to look through pictures? All right, what do I want to put up there? Or did you want him to know immediately, I'm a mom?
Oh, you're talking my profile pic, my
Yes.
dating picture.
Yes.
Um, I think I probably know. I think I was probably wearing, I thought I looked really cute in this zigzag kind of Charlie Brown.
Love that.
But it's intimidating, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It's very intimidating. You're like, well, don't judge me, but then you're out there and you're judging everyone else. So it's
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, everyone
Now,
has a type.
oh, yeah. Yeah. Now,
So
you are a bicultural family.
we are.
Patrick's not from America. So, what have
It's
you
not.
learned? What languages, food, trends, what have you picked up about his culture?
So Patrick is from Liberia, and he moved here 20 some years ago. He has a very fascinating story,
Mhm.
and how he got here and the whole transition with that. Um, but in Liberia, so Liberia is actually founded off of freed slaves from America. So they speak English there. They have a different accent and they have their own dialect, um, which I can't understand.
You mean much like us Southerners do?
Kind of. And so Patrick can't speak it, but he can understand it.
Okay.
But I've been around his family and they're talking, and I'm just like
Yeah.
smiling, and he, he'll respond with a couple things. My favorite thing, so on our third date, his his question to me, I was cooking for him, and he goes, "How do you make your pepper sauce?" And I'm like, "What the heck is a pepper sauce?"
Yeah.
So it's I can't eat his pepper sauce because it's very, very spicy. His friend brought some over the other day. So I love pepper sauce. It's just a bunch of different peppers, coconut oil boiled down, onions, etc. And then you can just put it on things. It's 100% natural. It's wonderful. But I also love rice bread. And rice bread is made out of cream of rice and crushed up bananas. So it's kind of like a banana bread. But then I put my own spin on it where I put curry in it and a little bit of peanut butter in it. But I've started a keto today, so I can't eat the rice bread
Oh, that's a bummer.
for
Can
four
you give
weeks.
us all a geography lesson and let us know where Liberia is?
Yeah, it's on. So Africa, you know how it comes up like this, and then there's the
Mhm.
thing that kind of protrudes out on the left side. It's right here. It's a tiny country on the bottom left. But
Have you?
there's, I mean, and then he's surrounded by, there's French speaking countries
Mm.
that are surrounded there. And he did speak French at one point during the war. He was, went across the boundaries and wasn't able to come back in. So he doesn't speak fluent French, but at one point in time, I believe he
When
was much
he's
better.
around family or on the phone with family, does that dialect kick in?
No,
Huh. Usually
it
it does.
and I had to think of it. So uh, and I think of his cousin. So he sponsored his cousin and her husband coming over. Gosh, 4 or 5 years ago. And when they first came over, they were staying with Patrick. He had a house and he had renters in the basement, got rid of the renters so he could help them establish themselves. And I mean, he could speak it and he would like bits and pieces, but it was, yeah, again, it was like, okay, I don't, I didn't understand. And some of it was English, but
Yeah.
the accent is just so thick and speaking very fast. And I'm like, okay, I just need just slow down a little bit so I can participate. But I did a really good job of just sitting there and smiling
What
and
is
trying to
the
be charming.
Now, what do you think are the one or two things he's going to pass on to Grayson about his
Uh,
culture or words, language, anything like that?
he will. Well, he'll pass on his hats. He's already bought him a couple hats. Um, and I think it just Patrick is a learner, so he'll be the guy that has those deep conversations with them. He can be goofy and whatever, but he's good at getting people to open up when you don't want to, and you're like, stop. And, um, yeah, I mean, just share his knowledge. I mean, he has a large amount of knowledge from Africa, from here, from across all the different things that he learns in different platforms.
When Grayson is in ninth grade history class, Patrick will be his phone a friend.
Uh, he definitely will. And being a U.S. citizen,
Yeah.
he's like, if you have to get your citizenship, we definitely know more than the people
Oh yeah.
that grew up in the United States.
If
So
mo
you can
yeah
ask Patrick about U.S. history
yeah
as well as African history.
if most of us born in the States had to go down right now, no studying, and
Oh
take
yeah.
that test, half of us would flunk. I
Oh
firmly
yeah.
believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. His mom just took it. So she's becoming a U.S. citizen as well, which we're very happy about.
Good. When I was looking at your Facebook page, I saw a big old picture of a cow. Why do you have a picture of a cow on your Facebook page?
Because I live in Clayton and we own a smoker, and we found a beef ranch like are you talking about the one from this weekend?
Mm.
Yeah, we found a beef ranch a couple miles from here. So uh we were kept passing it on the weekend. They're closed on the weekend, and Friday I went over there. I'm getting us a 6.5 pound brisket, and it was fabulous. Smoked it,
Nice.
and then grilled it. Had some issues, but yeah, it was really good. And knowing that it's local and
Mhm.
USDA grade and doesn't have all these uh, hormones and stuff, and what did they call it? Pasture fed. So
Okay.
it's something new. I thought it was worth a try,
Oh, yeah.
and it was really greatly priced, which I
Mm.
thought it was going to be like 100 and some bucks, and it was $46.
Ooh, we may have to talk later on that. And the reason I bring that up is rarely when I'm researching a guest does a picture of a cow come up on Facebook. So that made the story even better. It's like, okay, I need to know that. Folks, you can get in touch with Carrie through her phone number. We've been putting it up during the show here at CBIZ. If you have any small business or big business questions that she can help you with, please give her a call. It's 651 387 9168. She's been doing this a long time, an expert in the field, good resource, and she's will be able to tell you, nah, I don't think that's going to make sense for you, which you
Hmm.
need to hear. You don't need a salesperson saying, here's a program we got. You'll have to fit in this box. She'll work with you to find out what's going to be best for you. So, Carrie, we've enjoyed this very much. Thank you for being on today.
Thank you.
And I will see you at another networking event. We'll probably swap grandparent stories again.
I can't wait.
Yep. And so we'll see everybody next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.